Hey there. How are you doing today? I just actually decided to come to you a little later today in the evening than when I usually come. I usually come early in the morning, but I had so many things to do today before I could really sit down and chat with you guys. So I said, you know what? Let me take my time and come and speak on what I need to speak on today. Okay, but today, yes, I'm truly thankful for everything that's in my life. I'm so thankful for everything that God has done for us today, yesterday, and the day before, and so on. He is moving amazing around in my life. He really is, and I do want to say I'm grateful for that. Whew, what I'm not grateful for, and that is this weather out here. Okay, I have not missed Michigan weather. I have not, and that's the one thing I could honestly say. When I wasn't living in Michigan, when I first moved from Michigan and went to Vegas, I came home for Thanksgiving. And and I promised myself, I said, I will never come back to Michigan in the wintertime again. You hear me? Never come back to Michigan, come visit in the Michigan in the wintertime ever again. So every time I visit, I always visit in October. My parents' anniversary, me and my husband, we would come. Before my husband, I was coming, in the summer, but we would come on their anniversary to celebrate their anniversary with them. So that was pretty cool. So now, woke up this morning and I had tons and tons of things to do. Okay. I had tons and tons of things to do. That's outside on the other side of this front door. And so I was, so we got up, got ready and everything. And it really didn't feel that cold at first. And then we went out and we did a couple of errands. And then we had brunch. And once we had brunch, we came out of brunch. It was freezing. I was like, okay, this here, welcome to Michigan, William. And so after that, so we finally came home. My baby was even cold. Look at her over here, so you have to see her over here. Look, she ain't moved. She hasn't moved from that corner yet. She has not moved from that corner since she got home. Foxy, that mommy baby. Look at her. She she has not moved yet from that little spot there since we came home. Okay, so I know she's like, okay, I'm not with this winter get up either. So anyway, so today I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to kind of feed off of what I was talking about yesterday and everything, and just feed off of that a little bit, and go into a little bit more detail about how I became who I am. You know what I'm saying? And that's the important thing for me, because that's the important thing for me to understand and to try to, remember, because at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, that's that's what that's what I fell in love with. That's what my husband fell in love with. It's the person that you see right here in front of you right now. A person who has morals, a person who has value, a person who is a person of their word, especially in this day and age where no one is of their word. If people tell you something last minute, they'll be like, "Oh," and half of them wouldn't even call you until it's supposed to it's supposed to happen. But I am one of them strong. I'm one of those people, and I tell people that all the time. I'm old school. I'm old school. If I say something, I mean it. My word is what helps build my character. And even when I was on the streets, even when I was on drugs, even when I was in prison, even when I was in the lowest part of my life I was in, I always was a person of my word, because no matter what, in my head, it was always my daddy in my ear talking about, your word is your bond. That's always been in my head, and I tell everyone too. And growing up and explaining to you guys all I've been through and everything, I always had, even at the worst, I always had my parents in my ear. You know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy to me that the life that I'm living now is the life that they wanted me to live. It's crazy. I fought. Uh, okay, hear me and hear me well. I fought so hard to not to do everything they told me to do the other way. I I forget that, forget this, forget that, forget that. You know, if they said something, you know, I whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I lived for so long. And then when I became a productive citizen, okay, when I became a productive citizen, I became a person who went to work, a person who had to take care of my home, a person who had to, you know, stand on my own 2 feet. I found myself falling back on everything that they taught me. And that's what allowed me to be better. And it is. I'm saying, you know, it's what I do best. I had to take the long way around. What I do best, I had to take the long way around before I could actually understand what they were saying and everything. And it's crazy because, you know, I look at my life and as I said, you know, I've never seen one person that I wanted to emulate. You know what I'm saying? No, it wasn't. It was so many different people had so many different things that I seen, and I was like, oh, you know, I kind of admired it or whatever, and I've taken people things and turned it into my own. You know what I'm saying? I think when I was working at this hotel and I was training this girl, most amazing girl ever. Okay, she, oh my God, she was amazing. So when I was training her, I remember telling her, I said, okay, you can't be me. You cannot be me. I said, you're going to be you. I want you to be you. I want you to take what you see from me and turn it into what you needed to be to succeed. And she did. You know what I'm saying? And so when her and I fed off each other, it wasn't like I was feeding off of myself. It was like I was feeding off of someone else, and we worked so well together because I wasn't trying to tell her how to be, and I wasn't. Only thing I showed her how to do was to work the system. That's it. Work the system. I taught her how to work the system, go in and out, and do that. The system, far as the system that we were using, you know, to check people in and all of that. And I show her how to work the system. Once I show her how to work the system, I said, girl, you on your own. You on your own. I'm not gonna be over your back. You know what I'm saying? If you need me, I'm here for you. But I want you to be you, because that authentic you is what's going to get people to like you. You gonna see me over here singing, dancing, spinning on my head, and do all of this kind of stuff. Don't try to do it. You got to do what's natural for you. And I've always felt like I I always had to do what was natural for me. A lot of things that my parents told me and all of this and the facts of life and all that stuff, it wasn't natural for me until after I went through all that mess. And then I was like, life is so much easier now. It is. I swear to you, life is so much easier now. It really is. It's easier to be with my husband. We were talking about that with the Lyft driver today, because the Lyft driver was like, you know, I've been married, like he said he was married like 4-5 times. I said, honey, I said, my husband waited till he was older to get married. And guess what? He's set in his ways, but yet and still he's flexible, because he wants to be happy and he wants to make me happy. And that's the thing about it, is that my husband is my first priority. Yes, Foxy is my baby. She's my life and everything. I love that dog like I love contour and I love eyeshadow, and God rest her soul, I love the mess out of mascara. I'm saying, but my first priority is my husband. That's my first priority. You know, he's the one that made it possible for these dogs to be here, because he is the one who allowed, and I'm going to use the word allowed. He allowed me to add these dogs to our lives. He allowed me, because if he would have been like, oh, I don't like dogs, I wouldn't have just left them. Probably would have had a bunch of cats. Or birds. We got to get fish again, because we had a beautiful fish aquarium before we moved, and we had. But anyway, so so you know what I'm saying, and that's the thing for me, is that as I looked back yesterday, and God, I told y'all my whole business, okay, but as I looked back yesterday, and after I got finished talking and sharing with you guys, you know, everything that was, you know, that I've been through, and you know, everything. And I sat there, and I'm so grateful. And I tell people that all the time. I am so grateful that I was the one that survived. I had friends who we slept in the same bed. We put on the same makeup. We switched wigs. I had friends who were so close to me who didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? Who didn't make it? You know, I can only say only one friend who, oh, excuse me, one friend who met me when I came out, mentored me, truly mentored me, and you know, mentored the mess out of me into that life. You know what I'm saying? She really did. She mentored the hell out of me into that life. She was like up. She cleaned me up. She put my look together. You know, she wasn't threatened, because most of, just to be 100% truthful with you, most of the girls were threatened. You know what I'm saying? Because I was young, and you know, and all of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But she wasn't threatened. She seen something in me, and she's like, "Girl, please, you can outshine this." You know what I'm saying? She put me together and everything. And I remember it was so funny because I remember I was at a Trix car, and I was talking to the Trix. I was like, haha, and she read, and she came up beside me. She said, "Which one do you want?" And she threw her face up in there, and the Trix said, "I want you," and kicked me off straight off to the curb. Okay, and so I was like, "Oh, she worked me for that one." So once we pulled this look together and everything, honey, she was that one, and I ran up and I said, "Which one do you want?" And I threw my face up, and then the Trix said, "I want you," and she said, "Okay." And I said, "She gonna come anyway." But still, but I'm saying, but this was the person who I fought with. You know what I'm saying? Loved, you know, could get anything out of me, made me the angriest of everyone. She was you know, she was every part of it. And it's so amazing that out of everybody that her and I was together with and hung out with, her and I hung out with, they all passed. You know, most of them was still, you know, into, you know, drugs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But they all passed, and the only ones that's still here is her and I. You know what I'm saying? That's the only one that I can. That's the only person that I can say, hey, was that we lived together, we ate together, we did things, we did everything together. We fought, we we kissed, we we loved each other. You know what I'm saying? We loved each other, but we was really, you know, it was her and I. And and in the life that I was in, she was considered my mother. You know what I'm saying? Because she was schooling me on so very much, and she was schooling me on that life. Okay, now remember what I'm saying. She was schooling me on that life, and she was schooling me on everything, that I needed to do to achieve whatever it was that I was trying to achieve at the time. And that was getting drugs, getting money, turning tricks, and that's what I was trying to achieve at that time. And she was the person who was basically mentoring me and showing me, okay, this right here would, you catch a couple more tricks looking like this, then looking like that, whatever. And she had schooled me so much. So at the end of the day, like I was saying, her and I are the only ones alive. And just like she mentored me then, I find her mentoring me. You know what I'm saying? Before I was married, she would, I would go out because she moved to California, and I was in Vegas, and I would go out and I would visit her, and swear to God, every time I would leave from visiting her, I would have, I would have a different look. I'm telling you, I would go out there and she would see, and she would just work with me, and I would come back with a totally different look. Everybody like, oh my God, you wasn't this gorgeous when you left. Every single time I would go visit her, she would send me back to Vegas with a different look, different type of wig, because I had different wigs that I wore because I thought they fit me perfectly. And she'll pull one out that I would have never ever put on my head. You know what I'm saying? By myself, and put it on, and swear to God, everyone's like, "Oh my God, that hair looks lovely on you," and everything. And it was like, "Oh my God." So I look at it and I say, "Okay, wait a minute." You know what I'm saying? So she's still in a different way helping me grow and helping me to be a better person now. You know what I'm saying? Because she's not telling me, girl, you should go turn the trick, nothing like that. She's basically, inspiring me when I have a job interview. You know what I'm saying? Letting me know, oh, girl, you got this. She is my biggest cheerleader, and we still go through the through the love you and don't want to talk to you for a while, all this kind of stuff. We still go, but we have that. How can I put it? I think I can say with her, I think deep down in, I think, and and I can actually say, she actually came from a productive family too. She wasn't pushed out on the street. She wasn't kicked out. You know what I'm saying? Or anything. She made choices on her own to do that. So when it was time for her to make the choices to stop doing that, she fell back on what she was taught, like I did, fell back on what we were taught, and she lived. I can't tell you her story, and all I can do is tell you my story and what part she played in my story. You know what I'm saying? And that right there is the part that she played in my story, and I look and I see that it had to be something other than the gutter in her for her to be where she's at now. And I'm totally admire and respect, what she's doing with her life right now and everything. And like I said, it's not, I can't tell her story. I don't know what she's been through. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, I don't. The only thing I know is we was on the streets together. That's the only thing I know. What she did on the streets and all that, that's her story to tell. And what I did on the streets is my story to tell. And that's the story that I'm telling. But I'm just telling you that the effect that she had into me, far as helping me, become, being a cheerleader in my ear. And that's the one thing that I could say. She has been a cheerleader in my ear since I moved to Vegas and we got back in touch because we lost touch, you know, because I was in prison, she moved and everything. And so we lost touch. So, but when we did get back into touch, thank you, Facebook. But once we did get back into touch, you know, she was my biggest cheerleader. You know, she was my, you know, she was my friend, you know, and everything. And my husband teased and said, your second mama called more than your my first mama. And I'm like, cause she liked me better. She liked me better. No, but I'm saying, but at the end of the day, that right there is that you know, I see that I am so very blessed, you know. And as I said, I'm not gonna turn this into the religious thing or something like that. Yeah, I love Jesus. I do. You know what I'm saying? And everything, but I'm saying, but at the end of the day, I had I have no I have no other friends from that time. You know what I'm saying? It's a couple of people who I knew, you know, and we ran across each other, and now we're better friends than we were when we knew each other. I didn't hang out with them. You know what I'm saying? You know, they didn't hang out with me. We was on two different waves and doing things. You know what I'm saying? So, but I see them now, and I remember them back then, and they remember me, but they didn't know me then. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, they didn't know me. They didn't take the time to get to know me because they was busy doing them, and that's the thing that I really, really, really understood is that, you know, my mother out there, you know, she knew me. You know what I'm saying? She knew me. If you came and you told her, oh my God, Miss Candace did this or whatever, and she would know if I did that or not. She would be like, no, Miss Candace ain't did that. You know what I'm saying? She know, you know what I'm saying? Certain things she just knew Miss Candace wasn't gonna do that. Miss Candace ain't gonna rob no trick and don't give you half. You know what I'm saying? She if she robbed her for $10, she giving you five. You know what I'm saying? She knew. You know what I'm saying? Because I still had morals then. It was crazy. They was street morals, but I did. You know what I'm saying? Where you know how you say, um, how did they say it? Oh my God. Um, when you crooks can't trust crooks. You know what I'm saying? How can I trust you and you're a crook and I'm a crook? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so, but you could trust me, and that was the crazy thing. I was a crook. I was a crackhead. I was all this stuff, but you could still trust. You could still trust me because in deep inside, I was still hurt in the midst of all that madness. I still heard my daddy in my ear talking about you got to be a person of your word. You got to stand on something, because if you don't stand on something, you're gonna fall for any damn thing. And I have fell for so many different things. I got tired of falling. I was like, okay, I gotta find something to stand on. You know what I'm saying? Serious. I gotta find something to stand on, because I was falling, okay, and I was landing dead on my face. And so, but at the end of the day, so as I sit here now today, living here in Michigan, you know, then came back full circle. And that's the thing, I came back full circle. I'm back in this place where I never, ever would have thought that I was coming back. Would have never, ever. You could have won every dime I got, which it ain't that much. But I'm saying, but you could get every dime I got if you would have bet me 10 years, 5 years, 3 years ago that I would tell me that I would be sitting here in Michigan. It would not. You couldn't have did that. You couldn't have told me that. You couldn't have told me that, because I did not, under any circumstances, want to come back and deal with these people who aren't as people who aren't as happy with life as the people in Vegas were. People in Vegas are happy with life. They just happy. They just happy because it's a casino on every corner. You know what I'm saying? You can drink 24 hours. Is a liquor store open 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? It was whatever. It was the church open every 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? Everything that it was, people were just so much happier. And I think that's what, and everyone, I used to tell everyone, Vegas is my happy place, because it really was my happy place. Vegas was the place that showed me that it was so much more to me than I thought it was. Vegas was the place that embraced me and loved me and let me, be, every bit of who I was. Vegas was like, don't hold back. Don't hold back. I remember being at jobs and they said, don't hold back. Put that energy out there. That's what the people want to see. The people want to see this person jumping up and down, happy about nothing. You know what I'm saying? And they were, and they wanted to see that, in everything. And they allowed me to do that. In all these years in Michigan, they was telling me, you too much. You too much. Okay, calm down. You too much. I was too much. I was too much. And when I got to Vegas, I was just enough. I was just enough. So as I'm building this, as I'm building myself and seeing myself like I did, you know what I'm saying? I started, when I was here, I started toning myself down. I wasn't happy because I wasn't being me. I was so busy trying to tone it down. And when I was in Vegas, I could be on top of the moon. You know what I'm saying? I could everything. It was so amazing. So when I met my husband, and and we met each other. We didn't even tell y'all how we met each other, but we met each other on the bus. And oh my God! And when I met my husband, he seen this woman so full of life. He really did, because I'm on there taking pictures, you know what I'm saying? Doing my selfies, all that old kind of stuff on the bus and everything. And he's watching me and he's just seeing me being me. And that's what attracted him to me. And what attracted me to him is, and because at first, I wasn't, and everything, and we went on a couple of dates before I realized, oh my God, but the first date that we went on, and I tell everyone this, the first date that I went on with my husband treated me better than anyone on this earth. I swear to God, he treated me better than anyone on this earth. And to this day, he still treats me better than anyone on this earth has treated me. He has treated me better than anyone on this earth. And I'm saying anyone. Mama, daddy, sister, brother, grandparents, aunt, anything. He's treated me better than anyone has treated me on this earth. And to this day, he still does. So when I was so stunned. I really was. I was so stunned. And I told him, I said, when we first got together, I told him, I said, he said he loved me and everything. And I said, I'm not, I said, when I tell you I love you, that's what I mean. I said, right now, I can't tell you that. This was earlier in our, before we got married. But I said, yeah. And he said, well, I love you. That's enough for me. I said, okay. And what made me realize I loved him was Oh, what made me realize I loved him is that I woke up wanting him, wanting to talk to him, just wanting to be around him. I woke up wanting him. And every day after that, I woke up wanting him, wanting to be with him, wanting to spend some time with him, wanting to learn about him. All of this, then I realized, oh my God, I never felt like that, Not even with my first marriage. I never felt like I just wanted to be with him. I wanted to experience things that I never experienced with him. I knew that. And that's when I realized that I was in love. And I was in love. And I know, watching my family, watching my parents, watching my sister and her husband, my brother and his wife, watching them and not wanting to emulate any of them. Not at all. But we all made it on the way that we are. My mom and daddy was who they are. That's why they made it. My brother and his wife is who they are. That's why they made it. My sister and her husband is who they are. That's why they made it. And William and I are who we are. And that's why we're making it. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? William can't be, I wouldn't dare want him to be my brother. I sure wouldn't want to be my daddy. Not my mama. Ooh, baby, not my sister. Or my sister-in-law. Wouldn't want him to be none of them people. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, I want him to be who he is. I'm so glad that Anna raised him. You know what I'm saying? And nobody else. I'm so glad that he came from New Jersey and we met in Vegas. I'm so glad that we came together the way that we came together and when we came together, because my sister and her husband and my brother and his wife, they grew up kind of together. They was in their 20s and they grew up together. Me and Williams, we old. We ain't doing the 20 things. We ain't doing the 30 things. We ain't doing the 40 things. We barely doing the 50 things for real. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't have to go through everything. You know what I'm saying? All that horrible stuff. I went through that on my own. And so now I can just enjoy life and be happy and not stressful. You know what I'm saying? And what keeps me happy and make me keep enjoying life and not be so stressful is I actually have to limit my associations with a lot of people, and it's okay. And that's the thing that used to get to me. Oh my God! And we're gonna talk about this on another one, though. But I'm saying, but that's the thing that got to me is when I stopped socializing with people. I was so worried about how they felt instead of realizing that it was best for me. How they feel don't even matter. It's about me. Seriously, it's about what I need in my life to succeed and to be a better person. I see being around some people make me not the nicest person. And I have to catch myself. And I promise you, I have to catch myself when I'm around certain people. I have to catch myself because they don't want me to be happy. They don't. And they probably not intentionally know it. You know what I'm saying? But my happiness bothers them. It bothers them. So guess what? I'm going to be happy away from them. Okay, seriously. Because if it's bothering them, they're going to start bothering me because they don't want me to be happy. So I'm not going to be bothered with y'all. God bless you. Look good. And that's the truth, and it really is the truth. We're gonna talk about that later on, but yes, but that's that's what basically helped me, because looking in a mirror was hard at one time. It was hard at one time. It was truly hard because what was staring back at me was somebody I didn't want to be, that I knew I was better than. Ooh, that's really really sad to say, but it's the truth. But now I'm to the point where Foxy, come here, baby. Now I'm to the point where mommy, baby. Okay. But now I'm to the point where, hush, mommy, baby. Now I'm to the point where I am, I'm, I'm comfortable, and see, and that's the thing. I'm so comfortable now being with me. You know what I'm saying? William, in the room, and he gonna be in the room all night because he able to watch whatever he want to watch all night by himself. He ain't got to worry about, oh, is she gonna like this or whatever like that, because we do have those moments. So, but he in his room, he gonna be in that room all night. I'm gonna make dinner. I'm gonna feed him. I'm gonna turn TV on here because I'm gonna start catching up on my little Beyond the Gates. I was gonna wait till I'm gonna wait till Saturday. I'm not even gonna play. I'm gonna wait till Saturday. I'll find something else to watch, but I'll wait till Saturday to catch my Beyond the Gates so I can get a whole week and a half and everything. And so, but I'm saying, we're okay, and we're okay. And this dog here is gonna be right with me all day, aren't you? The other two in there with Daddy, and just one here. I put her in there with Daddy, and then I turned around. She was back out here. She's like, "Honey, you gonna be out here? I'm gonna be out here." Okay, so, but at the end of the day, that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I did. I really here. You want to get on, boo boo? And so I did want to share that with y'all today and everything. And just like I said, I'm gonna be real with y'all because I don't know any other way to be. I can't get up here. Oh, I went to private school. I was valedictorian. I like Pepe Pion. I still can never say the steak. The oh my god, the best steak in the world. I cannot say Pepe Pion. I don't know. I can't say it, honey. Where you just put it in your mouth and it just melts in your mouth. Oh my god, I want that steak. But now we getting lamb. I wanted to go tomorrow to do the Motown, but we'll see. We'll see. I want William to see Motown and stuff like that. See, now I can have fun showing my baby around different stuff. Because when we was in Vegas, we showed each other. We was in Salt Lake City, we showed each other. Now I can show him, and we may end up moving to Jersey one. Never say never. And I've said never. I said never, but never say never. Okay? Never say never. I have to remind myself, never say never. I said never about Michigan. We might end up in Jersey one day. I don't know. It's not on my bucket list. Michigan wasn't on my bucket list. Michigan pushed a couple of things on my bucket list to the side, okay? But no telling. But yeah, but that's as you guys are seeing a little bit more of me every time I get on here and I share with you guys a little bit more and just a little bit more and everything, because I really want you to understand the person that I am and why I'm in this place in my life. You know what I'm saying? Because I am in the most amazing place in my life right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy waking up every morning. I'm happy with my family. I'm happy with my husband. I'm happy with my dogs. I'm happy with the people who I allow in my life. I am so happy with that. And It took a lot for me to get this way. So I just wanted to say thank you guys. I truly, truly, truly enjoyed talking to y'all today. And I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow and everything. And again, say good night to my baby. She went back to sleep. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.